Hey, hello everyone, and welcome back to Six Elementals Interviews. My guest tonight, this afternoon, tonight, morning, wherever you are in the world, hello, hope it's going well for you, is just an amazing, amazing person, a fabulous booktuber, someone whose channel has blown up. From when he started, man, I mean, you see where, and we know it's not about clicks, it's not about views, that's not all it's about. But just from that aspect alone, look at the way this man's channel has progressed. Look at the amazing content he's putting out. Look at the kind of person he is, how kind he is, how supportive he is of everyone in the community. This man is a pillar of the community. He is a fabulous booktuber. He's someone a lot of us admire and respect. And I'm honored to have him on tonight. The amazing Matt Sorensen from AKA Beard of Darkness. Woo! Give it up.
Oh man, that was an excellent intro, bro. I need to take notes because I think that's one thing I've always done or lacked in. I don't know what it is, but that was wonderful. I think that you kind of took everything that your guest, having been me today, and kind of encapsulated that within 15 seconds. And that was great, man. I just took notes. That was wonderful.
No, man, was that good? But it's easy when you have an amazing guest to just gush, because I'm gushing about you because you're one of my favorite people in this space. So it's easy to just like get excited and get that vibe going. So yeah, I'm just happy to have you here, man.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. Absolutely. Anything, especially those like you and what I try to be, and so many other thousands of people who are wonderful in this community. It's like any chance I get to do, or any chance I get to hang out with any of you guys, or whatever it is, it's so much fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm just gonna quickly pick up a couple comments. Oh, we got John A. Oh, you diss Bearded Book, man. He came here. John A. is a wonderful author and booktuber himself. Black Crown, his book. Can't wait to read it. I bought it recently. Definitely on TBR for this year. I'll be getting to it. Check out John's content, his channel. Oh, I think, yep. Maddie's got it right there. Black Crown. Look at that. It's a beauty. Eh? John is such another pillar of the community. Just one of those people that when you see him popping alive, it just makes your heart happy, right? So thanks, John, for popping by. Really appreciate it. And yeah, actually, I was just on that, popped in that stream with Bearded Book Beats and the wonderful Philip Chase, two amazing gentlemen booktubers. So yeah, check that out too, man. You guys are kind of surfing booktube tonight. Check them out.
That's one of the things I miss, by the way. Like I did a lot of watching of booktube, and since kind of starting, and then until now, it's like even gotten even smaller. Like I guess what I'm trying to say is I miss watching those interviews. Philip Chase and who else did I love? Oh, Mike's book reviews.
Yeah.
Matt's fantasy book reviews, and whoever else was doing interviews. When I watched it, it was a lot of fun to do, and I haven't done that in a while, so it's awesome to hear about it.
Yeah, me too. I don't get to catch up nearly as much, whether it's your channel, John A. stuff, whoever. I don't get to watch as much of it as I would like, because again, between writing and booktubing, I'm John A. Of course, he blew up with all the smoke we blew under his skirt. John A. is awesome, man. And the awesome Shane Boyce, fabulous member of the community. Thank you so much, Shane, for coming out. I'm honored that he read and liked John Kingdom. He's been moving on to book 2. So thank you, Shane. I really appreciate you coming out and support today. Shane's also a great guy. Check out his reviews. He does some awesome graphics with his reviews as well. So thank you so much, Shane, for stopping by. And John A. says, this looks great, didn't it?
Dude, Shane does reviews on a whole other level that I never considered. And I'm taking notes on that too, Shane. I think you do wonderful. Like there's a place for written reviews. There's a place for like video reviews, YouTube, whatever, TikTok. And then there's a wonderful mash that I think that Shane does so well. And he's very not too particular about his scores, but he's not like too less. But I don't know. I mean, he does thorough reviews, but not over the top to where you're like, gosh, I don't even know if I want to read this book. Sometimes they're just so complex and themes and this and that, to where it's like, man, I'm confused now. But Shane, you're doing wonderful, brother.
Yeah, he straddles that excellent balance, especially for a review. Oh my gosh.
Well, you just said Shane did a wonderful review, so I had to throw the cover up because it's one of the best.
Thank you, my friend. I am on. Yeah, Shane did a great review of my book. I'm very humbled. And yeah, he does straddle that line, especially when you're putting something visually up on like something like a platform like Twitter especially when you want that soundbite, right? You're not
Yeah.
necessarily looking like for a War and Peace. You want that snapshot, and he does a great job of that. So yeah, absolutely fabulous. So listen, man, Matt, like, wow, you have just been, like I said, the progression of your channel since you started has just been absolutely phenomenal. I think your success is pretty well documented. I mean, you've had indie authors of all stripes, you've had traditionally published authors of all stripes, you've had creatives of all stripes, you've interviewed such a wide range of people, you publish such great content. Like, how's it feel, man? How's it feel like from the beginning to now where you are? How you feeling about the highs, the lows, everything you experienced? How you feeling?
I love that question because it really kind of plays in with the answer I have. And it's like, I'll give you a story. Like when I first started thinking about doing a channel, I had been binging Booktube, and it was at the peak of recognizing this passion I have for literature and the passion that I would soon have for community in the literature community. And I remember telling my wife, I was like, if I have Ryan Cahill on the show or John Gwynn, or this person, but the first was Ryan Cahill. And then, what I've learned is don't be afraid to ask, be unapologetically yourself. Don't do something because somebody else does it well, and think that that's going to get you the numbers they have. Really, I just jumped in full steam ahead. And so look back and know that people like my hero, my favorite writer of all time, John Gwynn.
Yeah.
Like he knows he knows who I am. If somebody says Matt from Beard of Darkness, he's like, oh yeah, I know that guy. What? Like that's surreal, man.
Yeah.
So it's been like that's been a lot of the experience. It's surreal. And I would say the one word that comes to mind so far is respect.
Yes.
Yeah, just that would be that singular word, respect, for those I've interviewed and those who've interviewed me or just talked to or reviewed, whatever it is.
Yeah. And the thing is, man, you know what? And you are so respectful of yourself. I can see how genuine you are in the way you interact with people. And this community is a case for me of like, they say, oh, don't meet your heroes. No, in this community, when you meet your heroes, you're like, oh my gosh, it only validates the way I feel about this person as an author. When you get to interact with them personally, don't you find that you just feel like, yeah, wow, man, they're even better than I could have imagined in person, right? Well, visually.
Yeah. So I've tried to think of the theory, like, why is it that the book community is that way? And it's like, that's pretty consistent from the people I've asked, and their experience is very much that way. And my theory is you have authors who, if I drop a book, I'm going to be very nervous. It's something that I've put myself out there. I'm vulnerable. There's going to be criticism. That's not going to be easy to take. So I think building a foundation with people like reviewers, editors, illustrators, and having that common trust, common respect, and whether it's your favorite book or your least favorite book ever, as long as it's a respectful conversation, we can all get along and cheer for one another.
Yeah, exactly, man. And part of the foundation and what is because I have all these elder people. When I say elder people who've been in the game before, people who do it so well. Look at someone. So right there's Tori Talks. She's a marvelous person. She's an incredible author. She's a fabulous booktuber. She's so well-rounded. She's been in this game. She's been writing since she was really, really, really young. And she had success really, really, really young. And now she's been on Booktube for a while. And of course, her channel is so well respected, so well regarded. But on top of it, if you watch the quality of the video she puts out and the topics that she broaches with such aplomb, such respect, so carefully, acknowledging, understanding other people's opinions and tastes, valuing other people's viewpoints, that's the kind of stuff that we get from being part of this community, people like Tori, right? And thanks so much, Tori, for coming by. We appreciate you, of course, always. Check out Tori's channel, and please do yourself a favor. Not just check out her channel, check out her books. Bloodstones was one of my favorite indie or self-pub fantasy books of 2024. Yep, there you go. Bloodstone's flashing. Yep. Put it up there, buddy. It is just an amazing book. Can't wait to see where Tori goes with the rest of that series. So thank you, Tori, for stopping by. Quickly, we have the awesome Zero Zaku one. Yeah, we're back. Hey, just such a great support of the community. Comes out to all these lives, asks amazing questions, gives great insights and comments. Oh, he's a guy always looking for good recs. So give Zero Zaku your recs, right? He's someone that definitely enjoys having recs from people in the community. So thanks again, Zero Zaku, for coming back. He was on the earlier live we had for Brotherhood of the Eagle deep dive into Tim series. And come on, man, this is almost fair. We got the Wolfman here, man. Wolfman Tula, brother, we love you, man. This fella here, another wonderful blogger, amazing. Just started a BookTube channel. So I can't thank him enough for all the support he's given, specifically my series and everything he's done. I am very humbled to have him have one of the cover endorsement quotes on my upcoming book, A Pack of Wolves, which the cover is dropping tomorrow. So I'm so honored. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming out. Check out Michael's channel, all his content and his reviews. He also does great stuff with fantasy sports. So check out all his content, man.
He's on the back of, I think, every Ryan Cahill book.
Yep. And Ryan Cahill is in my estimation, one of the best-selling indie authors out there right now. So you can imagine, he wanting to have Michael quote on his books there's a reason for that, because Michael's such an amazing person, so well respected in community. So thanks, Wolfman, for coming by. Quickly, we also have another absolutely fabulous Booktuber. Love you too, man. Andrew Wizardly reads. Give him props. He brings this passion and this genuine love of everything books and reading. He's so insightful, really intelligent guy. He gives you enough perspectives that you may not have thought of when it comes to all things books. So yeah, he is just awesome. Check out Andrew's channel. Of course, one of the more popular channels out there. So you probably have heard about him already. So
I haven't seen you there in a while. I haven't seen his name pop up in a while. It's good to see you, brother.
Yeah. And thanks, Andrew, for congratulating. I really appreciate that. Yeah, no, fantastic. So listen, man, Maddie, when it comes down to this whole community and some of the experiences you've had in terms of interviews and everything else you've done, have things gone in the direction that you thought they would have gone when you sat down and said, you know what, I'll start a BookTube channel? And I'd like to hear what was the genesis of that idea. But looking where you're back to, in retrospect, is this where you thought you'd be, man? Is this how you thought it'd turn out?
No, so very, very, very different. Two things. The first thing I'd say, and I tried this for a little while and I didn't, and I still don't really have the time for really long videos. So I tried reading and then posting a review afterward naturally. Didn't really have a schedule. I wasn't feeling super inspired to do it that way. So I asked myself, what do I look at other booktubers? What do I like about other booktubers that I like? Why do I like them? Because I take them serious, and particularly Mike. And he had quite a few interviews with a lot of the authors I really look up to, which just gave me a fire to do that. Yeah. And as you can tell, that's something I truly dove headfirst, right into it, because that's the main gig. I love interviews. I love learning. I have a cold, so apologize, guys. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no worries.
So as I asked myself that question of what do I look up to with these other booktubers that I enjoy watching, the first was interviews, which very far from me being comfortable doing interviews. I think it's become a natural thing for me. I think I do well at it and I enjoy it, but it was not the way it started. It did not start that way. It took a lot of practice, but it kind of just went from me thinking I was going to do the occasional review to being addicted to learning.
And that is incredible, because I think the one thing, like anything else we do in life, this whole BookTube thing, man, it is a learning experience. And, I posted, I think it was one of my videos, I said, listen, man, I'm still really rough. I'm still really crude in terms of where I am as a booktuber. I remember my first few videos I had the books turned backwards, the camera's backwards. So someone said, yo, PL, man, your camera's backwards, man. I was like, oh my God. But you know what? So much of it, and I've talked about this, is just do it. Just go for it. Make your mistakes. Fumble around. You know what I mean? Yeah, your first videos may look kind of cringe, and I've seen people who have gone from like really low tech to now like really high tech and really fancy editing and everything else. But you learn, man, as you go along, right?
And I know that for me, I thought, look, I wanted to take myself seriously, and in order for me to take myself seriously in like a new hobby or something I just pick up that I know nothing about, I have to have the right equipment, and it can't just be like the basic requirement.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've found that as long as the content that you're doing or creating appeals in some way to those with similar passions, like I've never used a camera. I've only used my phone. My wife has like 900 degrees in this building. I'm gonna kick her butt. But yeah, like I thought I had to have this brilliant camera and spend like $2,000, and I never did that, by the way. I learned before doing that. So I guess if there's anybody out there wanting to start doing, whether it's a blog, a YouTube channel, you don't always have to buy the most expensive thing or have the brand new camera, this or that, the brand new mic to make wonderful content.
Yeah. And I love content of all types. I like the high-end stuff, you know what I mean? Like more like the Mike's book review stuff and, the glossy, shiny. You see Minton, John, the Mintons from Talk Story. They got, of course, they have the secret weapon, Jacob, their son, doing all their producing for them and editing all, right? So, and I like the lower tech stuff. I mean, for example, Philip Chase, one of my favorite booktubers, he comes on, he says his thing, and it's amazing. And you just captain. Of course, the man's so smart. You just want to try and suck in and absorb a little bit, just a fraction of that knowledge, right?
Yeah,
right.
Dude.
And like you would just, but again, it doesn't have to be, pizzazz, wow, with special effects. That's all great, but it's all about the content you're putting out there, right?
Yeah. So even more to that point, so 90% of what I do right now is interview type live streams. I like the live stream aspect because, well, it gives my audience the chance to ask questions to the author. And there's already been multiple people where that's like huge. Their favorite author was on the channel and they got to ask him or her a question. And if it wasn't live, that's not possible. It also exposes how human we all are.
Yes.
I remember Adrian Tchaikovsky being on the channel live, and my kids are screaming, and I'm dying inside. I'm like, Adrian, I'm so sorry, dude. He was totally cool about it, but this was like brand new to me, and I had totally just failed. And it's never been like, oh man, I can't believe that your kids were loud or the picture wasn't perfect. It was all about that learning experience and two or more people connecting.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? That's why I absolutely love the long form content, like the stuff you and I are doing today, the interviews. That's to me, man, that's why I turned to BookTube. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love reviews, and I know they don't do as well, like in terms of the algorithm. They're important, I think, right? Yeah, I love, there's all kinds of different elements of BookTube I enjoy, but I love interviews. Because you know what? You get to see the person behind the book. I think that's what I really, you know what I mean? It's just like if you're a sports person, man, like I know my wife kind of by osmosis picked up my love for sports, but what really got her into it is the pregame shows to a lot of like baseball and football games where there's some human interest story where you got to see, okay, this person's humble beginnings and how they became a pro athlete. That's the stuff that really drew her in and made her cheer for, those players, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
100%.
that's a lot of it.
And it's like anything, obviously reading can capture those emotions that are tied to many things in our personal lives. Hearing stories like what you said, someone that started rough, that had it hard, get through that and triumph, come out the other end much better. That's always inspiring. And there's also a story that I've heard quite a few times now. The most recent is Benjamin Lyer. He He is not in here. I think it's in the house. So he wrote The Failures. It's a newer science fiction fantasy. Pretty like authentic, and I'm never going to say the word original because look, I've only been reading for 6 years and I don't know what that word means in reading yet, be original, but it's very different in the best way possible. And he's, over 50 and finally got published. And I think he said he was querying for 3 days. So to hear those kind of stories, very inspiring.
Yeah, really inspiring, really unique. And there's all kinds of stories just like that out there in BookTube. If you watch all these long form videos and you watch, and most of us have we're subscribed to a million channels that we don't get to, but there's certain ones you just hone in on. And what I hone in on usually is that kind of content. I want to quickly put up another amazing person community, another brilliant author, Timothy Wolf. I have his book. We're going to read that very soon. Platinum Tinted Darkness. I'm sure that, knowing Maddie, he's got, there you go. And actually, Timothy just dropped some awesome new covers, man. He dropped some dope new covers for his series. So, check out Timothy, add him to your TBR. Only heard great things about his series. So, and I actually will have the privilege of chatting with him later on 6 Elementals further on the year after I read his first book. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
On my over 250 interviews that I've done, Tim's was one of the best. He's an intelligent guy.
Yes.
He's really into economics, and I am too, which is, you don't find a lot of people who are economic nerds. And so it was just a wonderful conversation. He was a huge supporter since -2 subscribers on my channel, from the very beginning. So he's one of those guys that is the epitome of what this community is.
Yes, he is. He is a pillar of the community. And just quickly, Timothy, we're using this chat, but we're streaming on both channels. So we've got Maddie and my both streaming this event. So, but the chat we're using mine as the host.
Okay,
so.
I wasn't sure. So when I got it, this is called Restream, and I had never used it, which I really like it, by the way. And it asked me if I wanted to sign in on my channel. I just thought I had to do that to just even be here. So I didn't mean to do that. If that
it's perfect. It's perfect. It's amazing. No, all that means is great is because people are going to be able to, you will basically have this on your channel as well. So people can watch it there right after it's recorded. So I think that's amazing.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
Just only for those people who aren't confused to jump back and forth in terms of the actual chat. We'll just do it on my channel as the host, but And it's funny, Wolf Mantula puts up what you're talking about, Maddie. First interview with Ben Galley, and Ben Galley, for those of you who don't know, icon in the indie publishing community, someone who has done lectures all over the world, someone who was in the game when indie was not as popular as it was now, and did some really heavy lifting for the rest of us that are there now. So always shout out, respect to Ben Galley. Wolf Mantula says, first interview, had my covered. Hey man, you know what? That's what happens, man. And you know what? It's, you can look back and laugh at it now, but it's, you know what? You go on and you get better, and that's just part of the process, man. It's
Absolutely.
just part of the process. Shane just says, please talk about Timothy's cover. It is glorious.
It represents the content within the book so much better. The first cover was good, but this new cover I think is right where it needs to be. And
Timothy gives you that props back. That beer was my first stream chat, extremely anxious, but now I love that. And you know what? Someone like you, Maddie, and one compliment I got to give you, brother, it's just your personality is so genuine. You're a warm, funny guy. You put people at ease, right? So I can see why someone like Timothy, for the first stream, he was just okay, you know what? I can do this because of the host, right? So.
And I'm glad that I do recognize that as something that not everybody has, and I'm just thankful for it, because sometimes, a lot of times, even just we're in Walmart or a store and somebody's having a bad day and they drop something and it gets on you, and you could be mean, or you could be look, we've done this before, everybody's done this. And you just talk somebody into feeling okay, feeling good, and I think that that's important because, I don't know, I think happiness is a wonderful feeling to spread.
No, I totally agree. And my question is for you know, my next question is because I know for some of us, this is definitely a third or fourth hobby outside of our main hobbies. For some people, it's more of just it's more than just a hobby. Really, it's almost like a second career. And some people are heavily monetized. They have Patreons, etc. And there's everything in between, right? And we
Right.
respect and love everybody who's doing it because no matter what, you're giving a part of yourself and being willing to put yourself out there on camera and do these things is just awesome, right? And again, you're one of the really well respected people out there. Now, how do you, if you do, and you may not, do you cope with if there's any stress for in terms of, okay, I'm growing my channel, maybe this video didn't do as well, or I didn't get as many subs as I wanted this month, or I'm wondering if I'm growing at the right pace, or oh, I got to put out content, I put out a video this week, or do you cope with any of that? And if you do, how do you manage that?
So basically, I did at the beginning when I first started. I remember being very serious about it. Not that I'm not serious now; I'm equally as serious. But the weight has come off my shoulders for many reasons. So I don't have a typical 9 to 5 that is like which most people stress is like their career. My wife she's the career. I have something called Crohn's disease, and they've taken a lot of my insides out, and I've had a lot of medical issues. So I take care of the kids in the house and the yard work and stuff like that. And
That's a full-time job, brother.
yeah, and so that's kind of how our family is. So having this channel is really a creative outlet that is severely needed as a man that doesn't bring home the bread, right? So it's been important in my life for that reason, especially. So the stress doesn't come from the channel. It comes from the kids. And this is a way that I can use maybe some frustration or just to talk to people, the community, and use this as a matrix to do so.
And that's so important. We said, because we all love our kids. You're full time dad. Utmost respect to you, man, for all the full time parents, mothers and their fathers, etc. out there. It is a full time job. It is, it's. I mean, if you don't classify it as a career, of course, remember that you are investing in the most important resource that you and the rest of this world has, and that is our children, the future generations that are going to take care of this planet. That said, yeah, man, hats off to you. Big respect for doing that. And so sorry to hear about the Crohn's. Clearly, I wouldn't have guessed you. You're so positive. You're so, like it doesn't. You don't present like as if you're facing those kind of challenges. So hats off.
A lot of I have medical stuff attached to my body, but it's underneath my shirt. I'm 6'5", 240. You'd never think I was unhealthy. But the reality is, and I don't talk about it a lot, but I'm very okay with it. I have something called an ostomy that I'll never get rid of. So I don't use the restroom normal. Very hard aspects of life in my life every single day due to the medical stuff. But I have a wonderful wife who doesn't just do the career thing. She's also a full-time mother. So seeing that kind of strength, look, humility, I never had to get over that because it was right in front of me. I seen her birth 4 children and then still come home and be a mom on top of making money. Look, women are way stronger. Come on.
I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. And hats off to your wonderful wife. And it's so amazing to hear that. I love hearing that. I love hearing about partners supporting each other, credit and appreciation for what they do. So that's amazing. And I see that just your wife, I'm presuming in the chat. Also, thank you so much, Ashley, for coming out to support your wonderful husband and joining us today. And he's giving you a lot of credit, which of course, he so richly deserve. So thank you for all you do. Jirozaku1 says quickly, love watching both channels. Beard is so fun to watch. Talk about underrated reads, and that's huge. And I think that's one of the things I want to get into chat with you as well, Matt, that you've interviewed authors of all stripes, all levels of popularity, all levels of sales, from the Tad Williams and the John Gwynns to everything in between, right? And how do you compare interviewing and shining a light on reads that might, the person might have 20 reviews on Goodreads and 10 on Amazon, or they may have hundreds, literally tens and hundreds of thousands. But when it comes to underrated reads, what's the beauty that you found with these books, that, especially indie books, that perhaps people haven't heard of?
We're always after that diamond in the rough, right? So for many reasons, for me, it's like those are more anxiety. Not that I have any real anxiety before an interview anymore, but if I was going to have a little, it would be before representing or asking a author or whoever, their illustrator, editor, about their work as a lesser known author or whatever they do, because maybe they're not going to get 100 shots at emails wanting to, asking them to come on to people's shows for interviews, but that allows me to have a space for them. And I'm learning, potentially finding an author that I really click with and love to read. And if none of that happens, I've helped in the way that I could to help promote what they do, why they do it, their inspirations. If they talk about their writing style, that can help anybody writing in the chat or who watches a replay. There's just many different aspects.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you know what? I feel that some of the best books I've didn't know that I needed. Didn't know that, someone sent me an article, said, hey, can you check my book? And I'm like, okay. And you read it, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm blown away. Wow, this is incredible. I can't believe I
almost slept on this.
Yeah, how did I not know about this, right? And that feeling, they're both, not one is not better than the other. Of course, when John Gwynne puts out a book, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so stoked because you love John Gwynne, you know the caliber of author he is, and you get to read that book, you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It just reaffirms my belief in John Gwynne, etc., right? But then that's a different feeling from this author you might not have heard of, and it's like, oh my gosh, this person's a brilliant writer. How could I know? But more people need to know about this. I need to shout this to the heavens so this person has a chance to have the popularity of John Gwynne. That's just a great feeling.
And there's many of those that I've had. Like I could name off multiple, but I'm going to focus on one in particular. That just, he's top 3 author of all time for me personally, just because I click with his prose so much. And it's Scott Palmer.
Yeah.
And he, the ballad, or what is it? Oh, I got it right here. Let me grab it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we're all direct here.
The Sound of Starfall, but it's the Last Ballad series, and I'm loving it. I am just over the moon about it, and I don't know if I ever expect it. Like, I think if I went into every read expecting to blow my hat off, then I would have a lot of subpar experiences. I just take everything as they come to me, and the experience kind of lends itself, and whatever it was for me, that's good. But for his work, especially, he's pretty new. Loving it. So to find something that brilliant for me was incredible.
Yeah, and that's absolutely awesome. I want to quickly put up Tim McKay, another brilliant author. His books are on my TBR. Check out Tim McKay's work. Great support community. Thanks for coming by, Tim. Haven't read his stuff yet, but looking forward to doing that. I quickly want to get it put up. Your wonderful wife. Love you, Daddy. You the man. And I love to see that. That just warms my heart, right? Just this is amazing. And
he's probably wrestling with 4 kids right now.
I don't doubt it. And we have Zero Cycle. Yep, Tad Williams with Andre. Listen, you know what the thing is? Like I said before, when you get to actually speak to your heroes, these legendary authors, iconic authors, and you find out just how incredible they are. Tad Williams is one. You've interviewed him, Matt. I've interviewed him. He is just, and the wealth of knowledge in that person's head, right? The knowledge of literature, the knowledge about writing, the knowledge about the industry, like just, someone who's a trailblazer, someone who's broken new ground that so many authors that we consider iconic, they say, what's your inspiration? They say Tad Williams.
Yeah, dude, 100%. And if you read even just the first, the Dragonbone Chair, As soon as you get through maybe the third or fourth page, you're like, okay, this guy has a prose that is intelligent. He knows what he's wanting to say, and he's saying it well. And it just gets more. It gets better. But for me, my prose would never be anything like Ted. It is just so refined and next level. It takes me a while to get through his work, but in a good way. Like I'm remembering, I'm absorbing things, and it's dense in the fact that it's layered, at least in my imagination, as I'm picturing, the Green Angel Tower and gardens or whatever the scene is. He really paints it well, and it's not overly foo-foo. I guess people would call it foo or flowery. It's not overly. For me, it was just the perfect amount.
Yeah, he is incredible. Tad Mills, just a legend, truly. And hey, E.L. Montague, what's up, brother? It says we surprised him in daytime interview. You know what? I'd keep you on your toes, E.L. So you know what I mean. But another wonderful author and booktuber. Check out his books. Check out his writing. Check out the whole Balding posse. They're all like just awesome people. So yeah, thanks E.L. for coming out to support. Really appreciate that you're here.
Montague.
He is awesome. So listen, one of the things I want to make sure I get in this chat, I have to, as again, I'm honored to speak with you, is and take as much time as you want. We want to get your recs as someone whose opinion is really respected in the community about books, and toss out some recs out there, like maybe some of your top, and I don't like to split them up. I don't split them up for sake of because one is better than the other, because I don't feel that way. Like, for example, I do top lists that include top 10 indie, top 10 trad. Why? Because I want to shine light and get exposure on both sides, the main sides of the publishing house, to just get more books out there. So yeah, give us some top 10 indie and top 10 trad recs, if you don't mind, to get out there for the audience, because a lot of people look to your recs. Do you mind giving us some of the books that are really vibing with you?
100%. Honestly, it's when I'm alone and I'm thinking and nobody's asking me, it's hard to think of a list. But now all I did was take a couple seconds. I think I've got an okay one. These are really top tier books that I don't know if there's 10 here yet. We'll find out. So I have to put my first recommendation being the one that got me here. What I mean is, like, fantasy, literature, all of that. I found a love for it at the exact same time, in the same place. I was in a hospital, and I found Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. Now, it's not huge, profound, or anything like that, but it was for me. Very Victorian London, little bit of a horror aspect, like a gothic horror. I love that aesthetic too. I love that, man. Like, there's potentially a vampire somewhere in this picture, because that's what comes to mind when I think of Victorian London. So Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro, foundational for me. Yeah. That's the fuel I needed to keep going. What did I? Ryan Cahill. And some people may say, well, everybody says him, or all I know is my experience. He was pretty popular when I started my booktube channel, and honestly, when I hear a name like Ryan's or John Gwynne, Stephen King, I have to make sure that I'm going to like, and they're going to live up to a hype, right?
Yeah.
Ryan Cahill's work is a feel-good type of literature for me. So what I mean is, if I'm having a really bad day and I just need to feel like I'm at home and comfortable, I'm reading Of Blood and Fire for sure.
Yeah.
So his work has become something of many different types of important for me. I remember now. I wrote down FT. So I was like, what did I mean? Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Was my very first Stephen King. Odd place to start, I understand. But I loved it. It's a fantasy. It starts out not like a fantasy usually starts out. It evolves into something that I found very, very awesome. That was a 5-star for me. John Gwynn.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's my favorite. So the reason is because about 10 years ago, I started getting really into ancestry. And my ancestors come from Denmark. So I love a lot of that Norse mythology. And it's very cool to think of maybe an ancestor of mine was roaming the seas.
Yeah.
So the Bloodsworn Saga, I have not finished the saga yet.
Oh,
I'm savoring.
Amazing.
I've read the first 2. I don't know if I'm ready for book 3 because then it's over.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
Yeah. It actually, believe it or not, I'm gonna let you go back to your Rex, but believe it or not, because you're a Gwyn fan like me, this surpassed Faithful and the Fallen. This series surpassed. I didn't think anything that not because authors don't improve or that he was going to grow. I didn't think anything would top that series for me when it came to John Gwynn series, and that's one of my favorite series of all time. Bloodsworn topped it. That's all I have to say.
And I think, thank you. I always love someone that gives a wonderful reason, and you're so good at that you don't spoil anything. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Yeah. So John Gwynn, I love that he has certain women, specifically Orca, that is just like the badass part of every woman in our lives that we love. Like Orca is in every single one of the women in our lives. Like there is an Orca in each one of them. If you've ever seen a woman give birth, that's Orca. Like she's getting it done. She's doing it for the right reason. If somebody's trying to attack your family and you have to knock them out, that's Orca. You're having an Orca moment. So she represented a lot of that for me. And I was reading it during a time that my wife was, we had 4 very close to each other. So I was seeing her in these tough moments, and she was sick for the whole 9 months with each kid, and just the strength that I had translated through Orca, that's how it personally affected me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let you get back to those Rex. Speaking of badass women, Cinnapalm writing, but
what
here.
Oh yeah, Cinnapalm, what's up?
Thank you so much for coming by. We are honored by your presence. A wonderful person in the community. Queen. Yeah, the audiobook queen of the community. If you want to know about an audiobook, that is the person that you talk to.
There's nobody else.
She's outstanding with her knowledge of audiobooks, and her consumption of audiobooks is off the charts. Like I don't know how she does it, but she does. But wonderful person, community, amazing writing. Looking forward to reading her work in the future. And once again, we love you too, Theta. Thanks so much for stopping by and checking out the channel and coming here to support Matt. So appreciate it. Sorry. Okay, back to your Rex, my friend.
Yep, I've got a few more. I'll give my most recent, and it was through my wife finding her work through the recommendation of Molly McCabe, who wrote Dark Bloom, and her name is E.R. Phoenix, and I just had her on the channel. She's from Puerto Rico, and Spanish is obviously her first language, and she learned English. And from what I understand, as you go through your grades and get higher, you learn some English. But rather than write in Spanish, she writes in English. And my wife went through, there's 2 books. This is the first one, Rebel Unbound. It's a dystopian thriller. There's somewhat of an romance aspect to it. It's amazing. I haven't read as much as my wife has. She's finished both books. Book 3 is coming out later this year. But absolutely wonderful. So she's a brand new kind of author. She's maybe 4 or 5 reviews on Amazon. And that needs to change. Like so many people will love this series. And it's called the Premissa Trilogy.
Okay.
See if we can get it there.
Okay. Definitely going on my TBR.
Yeah, it's hard to, but Rebel Unbound is book 1. And I can't remember book 2. Rule of the Elite.
Ooh, good memory.
Yeah. And I think book 3 is Break the Regime. So they're badass titles.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I highly would recommend ER Phoenix. It's not a fantasy. It's a dystopian, very believable, authoritarian government, basically taking all your rights and making all of the decisions, what you eat, drink, don't drink, do, work, how many kids you can have, everything is controlled.
Yeah.
And you have
Wow.
those who abide by and deal with, and then you have rebels.
That sounds fabulous, man.
Yeah, it's very cool. The next one I'm going to have to say is, I got two more.
Okay.
So, I don't know if I can.
We're here for it, man. We're here for it.
Let me look real quick because I'm going to throw it up if I can find it. But
absolutely, I love when you can flash them on camera, man. It just that visual so other people can see.
This isn't out yet, but his first, but this is the second book. Okay, so his name's Pete Kramer. He is a self-published author, not hugely known, but I think is another one that needs to change. So his first book was called Chesapeake Bay Monsters, and it was excellent. If I'd have known anything about it beforehand, I never would have read it. Its plot is not something I would find that I would like. I wouldn't have thought I'd love it, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. My wife did too. So Pete Kramer, Chesapeake Bay Monsters is the one I've read. And then this is his new one that I haven't read yet, The Skyman's Legacy. And the book I'm going to talk about now is not coming out until February 4th. And it is... I gotta open it up. When I opened this piece of book mail, I had to have somebody pinch me. But Grand Empire, dude, it's next level good, man. Richard Swan, he was so good through the Empire of Wolf trilogy. This is his evolution of his prose is very evident. His writing is impeccable in this.
Wow. Okay. Next, he's definitely my TBR. He's a great guy too. Just a wonderful, wonderful human. Great writer. Yeah. Oh, those are some awesome recs, man. Those are some awesome recs, brother. You giving us our TBRs are just groaning now under the weight.
Oh, my man. Just one last one, if I
absolutely,
could.
Man.
I'll give one last indie one because he's probably, he is my top grimdark self-published author. John Palladino. Yeah, dude. Dark, but he is the closest thing to a Joe Abercrombie and George R.R. Martin baby. Wow. That's his writing.
That's high praise, man.
Closest it would come.
That's high praise. I have his book again. One of his books on my shelf. Got to get to it. Hopefully this year. It's on my TBR. Heard nothing but great things. The man is just what I love about John too. His presence on social. He's so real, right? Yeah. He's so real. There's no faking or nonsense about that guy. He's just real, authentic. Just a warm person. Yeah, I really.
And once you read his books too, you're like, this guy's not that I didn't think he was intelligent because I knew he was, but after reading his prose, I'm like, this guy is more intelligent than he's letting everybody know. He's a secret guy. I'm secretly a genius, but you won't know that.
No, I hear you. And there's so many authors there who are like that they're brilliant. They're very understated with the way they present themselves on social media and stuff. But when you read the books, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's and for me, there's so many I could rec. I just want to shout a couple quickly that I feel under the radar. If you have not read Sienna Frost, and her series, her series Obsidian. I read the first book and I got an arc of the second book. The second book just came out. You want to talk about not just elevated prose, because elevated prose is one thing. You talked about prose that's more advanced or more flowery, whatever. That's one thing. But prose that just sucks you in and makes you cry. Literally that. If the beauty of this passage and or the type of poignancy that she conveys, how evocative it is.
Is it that one?
Yeah. So
I haven't started yet.
Man, I hope you love it as much. So if I was gonna say an author that is one of the most talented, like pure talent indie authors that I've read. She has to be in the top of the list, man. She is talented as hell. Wow, she is just next level.
Shane said similar things. Shane Boyce, he said very similar things.
Yeah, she is next level. I highly recommend it, man. Highly recommend it. That's one for the indie. On the trad, someone who I really have to finish this series, and I'm quickly going to put up Obsidian was this Timothy Wolf. 5-star for me, but it's so dark. I'm nursery. You know what?
Too.
Yeah. So just and Timothy's right. Her books are dark as hell. But you know what? Just a beautiful darkness. Like, and this is leading into my next rec on the other side. And quickly, Grimfell says, hey, what's up? Thanks for coming up, man. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming out to support the channel.
His music's wonderful. PL, if you haven't checked his music out, I don't know if you're a metalhead, but bro.
No, I haven't. Okay. All right, Grimfell. Got a music record out too. This is a bonus, right? So this is on the other side. Now, this is a pretty popular traditionally published author. However, I think her stuff is so underrated for this and writes the same, not the same, but similarly dark, really compelling stuff. That's, you know, some of it is, it's pretty twisted. Man, it's gonna be like, it's got to be the queen of grimdark, Anissa Spark. She is like, her prose is, it's psychedelic, it's kind of out there, it's beautiful, it's highbrow, it's lofty. It's just like, oh my, like, I can see her becoming, once I read more of her, I can see her becoming one of my favorite authors. I just need to read more of her.
What did you read?
So her main series. So right now, I think the next book I have to read is Tower of Living and Dying.
Also, you've read Court of Broken Knives.
I read Court of Broken Knives, and I have all three in her series. But her main series. But yeah, I have to like read everything she writes. She is just absolutely phenomenal. Like I gotta read her stuff, man. Like it's just addictive.
Nothing like her prose.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other prose even close to anything like hers. Like, it's very unique. It's very left up to interpretation. If you've ever talked to her, she has a way of talking about how she writes that won't make sense to many, but to those that it will, she's very hard on herself.
She is.
Erases a lot, and she redoes a lot.
She is absolutely brilliant. Like, I mean, genius level brilliant. I had the honor, I spoke to her, interviewed her on Page Chewing with her and Steve. I met her in person at Worldcon in Glasgow. You know, like I got to I asked to sit at, she was doing a roundtable. I got in to sit at her where I guess her fans get to talk to her. And like, she is next level brilliant. And funny as hell, great to hang out with. Just hanging out with her in the bar at Worldcon. She's just awesome. So
I saw those pictures and I was extremely jealous of everything you guys were doing. Man, that would look so much fun.
Yeah, well, you know what?
I'm here to tell you about or talk about, Shane. That's unlike any other book I've ever read.
Oh yeah.
In the Shadow of Time.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, obviously I haven't read it yet, but yeah, she is just a phenomenal.
She plays a point of view which is like a devil that's after somebody, and man, it's not like she's telling of the experience. She's just like acting it out in a way that is creepy and morbid, and you can smell. And oh, dude, it's just raunchy wonderfulness. It's great. It's definitely dark though.
Well, I'm all here for the darkness, man. I'm all here for the darkness, so I got to check that out. And then of course I have to mention my two at the top tier. My favorite traditional published author and my favorite currently right now self-published indie fantasy author. Gotta give it up for Jenny Wirtz.
Jenny,
my favorite traditionally published. My favorite series here of all time. Where's Light and Shadow? You talk about elevated prose. It's Chibapo, another great member of the community who coined the essentially transcendental prose. Like this is an experience like it's like you've left where you are and you're somewhere else, right? What she does with adjectives, like it's just and it's not for everybody because it's denser, so it's hard to like. But once you get used to it, you talk about book hangovers. You had a book hangover before, right, Matt? Like you
Yeah.
read certain books, like, oh man, like after this is like I can't read anything else for a while because I'm so like, yeah, it is just absolutely phenomenal. And Jenny is a pillar of the community. She's an icon around here. She's just so giving and generous. You talk about a quote unquote big author that is accessible and that gives so much to everybody of their time. Like Jenny Wirtz she's that person.
Janie was one of the all-time, probably is probably the number one biggest influence on me, being who I am today in the book sphere realm, whatever this is, the booktube realm. Just seeing how she is. I remember when I reached, it was like a week after I started my channel, and she's like, "Look, right now I'm doing some promotion for this book, and my publisher don't write them because they'll take because you don't have enough followers. But for me, you're perfect, and I would love to send you a book." And she was just amazing, dude. She sends Christmas cards. She is, dude. She's a wonderful person, man, and she is so relatable. She's so human, and yeah, her prose. It took me a minute to get used to it. It did, but once you start to fall into this world, it just takes you by the hand, and you're on the way, and it's very vivid. I'm still picturing them in the sand. The portals coming up and people meeting them. Why are they here? Like I can still remember that specific scene, and I'm not even 100% done with that first book. I had to stop it because I got sick last year at the end of the year, and I just didn't pick it back up yet because I know I have to be in a special spot for that book.
Oh yeah. You need to be right headspace. Yeah, that's.
And I want to give her that too. Like she's been so wonderful, not only to me, but so many people like you and hundreds of others in the book community. Yes. When I pay her respect by reading and talking about her work, I'm going to do it in the best, most informed way possible.
Yeah, no, I agree, and kudos to you for doing that. I so respect you for saying that. And it says Shane says that he's starting next week. Shane, you're in for a ride. It is just, as Matt said, you're going to be transported, man. You're going to be in another place, another world. And Jenny is, again, I'm honored to call her a friend. She's one of the best people in the community of amazing people. She stands out, right? And that's saying something. So, and finally, my last rec, my favorite indie, completed as well, self-published sci-fi fantasy series is The Way of a Dan by Philip Chase. I mean, Philip needs no introduction. He's our beloved booktuber, our beloved professor. He is
booktuber with a broken binding.
Yeah, and oh yes, special edition for Wade Dan, audiobook by Alan of Library of Alan.
It took me a minute to believe that was his voice, but it is obviously.
You listen to it?
Yeah, I'm listening to it now.
Wow, that's awesome. Good. Yeah, this is my fave indie series that I have going. I mean, Philip, it was a labor of love, and he published them all in a row, right? And I think that was a bold, but really that was a great decision to do that. And it's very popular. It's getting all kinds of glowing reviews on Goodreads, and it's just, if you like that combination between like talk about prose, elevated prose, but yet accessible, that you can just read it and listen to it, and it's got all the hardware, great battle scenes, great world building, like everything you want, the whole package. Yeah, check out Way of a Dan. Great entry into like, okay, say you've only read trad books. I'm really wondering about indie fantasy. Great entry point into indie fantasy.
That's good to know.
Yeah, if you haven't read, it's a great entry point. And the prologue, first book, blow you away. And I say this about his series: when you bookend that prologue, that ending in the last book, in Return to a Dan.
Oh man,
it is awesome.
I think.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. So those are some of my recs. So, but your recs were fabulous, and I hope
I do have a couple more if I could.
Oh, please do, please, yeah, absolutely, please bring it on.
James Rollins I'm a huge fan of James Rollins. He's more so known for his Sigma Force novels, which are like tech thrillers, and they're great. They're also one of the very first books I started. But
lot of people don't know is he started as James Clemens, and this was the first book that he ever published under any name, and it was it's called Witchfire. So as James Clemens, who he initially started writing under, because that's not his real name either, he was a fantasy author, which leads me into what I was going to say. So as James Rollins, he's only written those tech thrillers. About 3 years ago, they gave him the okay. I think he'd probably been asking for it for a while, and wrote the first book in the Moonfall saga, which is top 5. I know Tim's a huge fan of.
Yeah.
It's called The Starless Crown. That's the first book in Moonfall saga. Then it's Cradle of Ice, and I don't know the name of the third one yet, but I love that series, and it just shows you his diverse way of telling stories. He can do it in a quick-paced, action-filled type of way, and still tell stories of character, and there can be some adherence from book 1 to book 18. I think there's 18 books in the Sigma Force novels. There's going to be similarities or a storyline that you don't necessarily have to know, but if you do know, you'll catch it, because they're all standalones. But there's also those aspects where you'll catch, little Easter eggs. So James Rollins, but more specifically, the Moonfall saga, and the Sun Eater. I'm loving it.
Christopher Rocchio,
yeah. He impresses me in so many ways. His storytelling ability, his intelligence, his confidence, and his authentic aspect about him, that he writes what he wants to write, and that's it. Like that's what he's writing. He's known what he wanted to write. He's known the ending to this 7-book series forever, and he's quickly becoming one of my favorites. And I had one last one here. I don't know.
Absolutely, my friend. This is amazing, and I have to get to Sun Eater. That's unfortunate. I know I won't. It's a long series. I won't be able to get this year. My goal is finishing Malazan this year, but definitely next year I'm hoping to get to Sun Eater. I heard nothing but rave reviews about it. Everybody's talking about Sun Eater.
In Empire of Silence is good, but now I'm only into book 2, getting ready to start book 3, but from what I understand, it just keeps getting more and more like emotionally damaging and sucks you in even more. So that's very cool, because that's a consistent review that I hear.
Yeah.
And that's not typical. I mean, a lot of people have very different opinions.
Yeah.
I have something else written down, but I abbreviated it. If I do remember it, I'll throw it out there, but I don't remember it at the moment.
Okay, absolutely. As Tina Bum says, I'm in love with Sun Eater. I'm going to read Deathstalker and Vorkosigan alongside Sun Eater. And we have Shayna says, my favorite series last year. It's incredible. Someone whose advice you can definitely trust. And she says, yeah, the fifth Miles of this year too. Yep. It's definitely, that's my goal. I'm right now. I just finished Midnight Tides a little while ago. I am currently reading Bone Hunters.
Is that the last one?
No. So Midnight Tides was 5. I'm on 6 now. So it's 10-book series. I'm getting there. There.
Deep.
Yeah, I'm getting
that deep. Like, is there any chance in hell that you won't finish it?
No, God willing, as long as I'm alive. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I plan to hopefully push through and finish it this year. I have so many arcs I really have to read. I got some major arcs, even like that I've been privileged to get coming on the horizon that I really want to get to. But if I have the chance, if I get a couple of days off that I think I'm going to get off, like during like holidays, that I can take the time to sit down and read most of the day, I might finish Malazan earlier. And the Wolfman Tuna, great opinion, great person who knows this stuff as well, says that Sun Eater is amazing. Timothy Wolf says he's on a Sun Eater hiatus. Excellent, but a lonely journey with the massive time skips. I didn't know it was time skips. Yeah, there's like time skips.
Huge, man. Like from the end of book 1 to the beginning of book 2, you're like, how freaking long has this been between like this area of non-written events in this world, between book 1 and the start of book 2. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
So you find yourself right at the beginning catching up, and there's reasons for it, and it's fun, man. It's really, really fun.
Okay, I gotta check that out, and I will throw in one more rec as well, if I'm allowed, and that is anything historical fiction, science fiction, or fantasy by who I dubbed the most interesting man in the world, like the Dasaki's commercial, Miles/Christian Cameron. He is one of my favorite authors in that top 2 bracket. He is so prolific. He's written, I don't know how many books he's written now. I cannot keep up. He writes in science fiction, fantasy, and historical fiction, and he is top tier in all of them. He is one of the best. You talk about the John Gwynns, you talk about the Stephen Ericksons, you talk about the Jenny Words, you talk about the the Evan Winters, you talk about the George R. Martins, talk about the best battle scene writers, specifically for battle scenes. Christian Cameron.
Wow.
He's also a brilliant reenactor like John Gwynn. So he travels all over the world. He's got the armor, the swords to prove it, and he is a great fighter. And he does these videos called Writing Fighting on YouTube, that if you're an author and you want to bring that sense of gravitas to your fight scenes, watch those videos. They're short, they're impactful. It just shows you, hey, this is why you couldn't use this sword that way. This is why you could use this axe that way. It's just, they're short and they're brilliant. Watch those videos on YouTube, Writing Fighting. Check out everything that Miles/Christian Cameron writes. He is brilliant. And another person, Arthur, call him a friend. He is just amazing.
That was the single best recommendation I've ever gotten. Knowing that John Gwynn is my favorite. I love that he does reenactments. His battle scenes are my favorite. There's somebody like you, who I obviously trust, who also loves John Gwynn. I have to now go obsess on Miles Cameron.
Miles Cameron is almost like I said, when I say the man's the most interesting man in the world, check out my interview with Miles Cameron on Page Chewing with Steve Tuck's book. The guy, he was in NCIS, like the real NCIS. Like he's been an intelligence
Navy
officer.
Chairman of something or another.
He's been an intelligence officer. The guy is like, he's traveled the world. The guy is like, and again, a brilliant, to be able to write in that many genres and subgenres. And to write and he's so well respected, and on top of that, he's such an amazing human, right?
I'm thoroughly talked into it.
Yeah, just I'll tell the story. Went to barbecue at his house, and there with all the swords and stuff, and oh man, it's just
It's like, this guy lives that life, dude.
Oh yeah, he lives it. He lives it. And Wolfman, when Tula puts up Love New Achilles and the Lost Street, and like the guy, the research that he puts into his historical fiction, like, wow, like you feel like you're there.
That's why I, and a lot of, from what I've heard of fantasy authors, won't write historical fiction. The weight on your shoulders to make it as correct as it can be. You know what I mean? Like, that's the weight I would put on myself. And I've heard similar stories. So those who do that, bravo.
Yeah. Shane says Booktuber and TBR. And maybe my second favorite series by him, Cold Iron's in my library. So it's Cold Iron. It's not really YA. I know it's perhaps marketed that way, but it's not. It's dark, and it's like So
Shattered Kingdom or whatever by Joe Abercrombie. That was marketed YA, definitely.
Yeah. It's not YA.
Yeah.
So but yeah, amazing series. I read that last year, I believe. Yeah. I just love his stuff. His stuff is just.
And I did remember that recommendation, and I'm so glad that I did, because it is a top 5 book all time for me. I can't believe I forgot it, but it is. Debut book too, debut novel. John Gwynn's old editor, James Logan, Silver Blood Prom.
I keep seeing that, man. I keep seeing that everywhere. That's one of those books that just blew up, and just what Silver Blood Prom, and
so much fun. Like, if you like adventure and that feel when you're at a tavern, not that you necessarily spend a lot of time in taverns, but that feel, you're getting in dangerous situations with the main character who's young and pretty ignorant, watching him grow, and then this really funny side character. It's just good, man. Like, he took a lot of the stuff that he learned being an editor and obviously applied it. And I cannot wait for the black. What is it? Black sword. I don't remember, but I cannot wait because that was it's one of my top 5 all-time favorites. Silver Blood Promise.
High praise, of course. Trust your Rex, definitely. So high praise. Okay, we'll definitely have to try and get to that at some point. So, listen, man, you have been so incredibly generous with your time. I cannot. This has been such an honor. I've been looking forward to this all. Like since you said yes, man, I've been like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm just so happy that you're willing to come on and chat to me for a while. Thank you for taking time. I know how busy you are. I mean, geez, with your family and everything. Like, just thank you for the honor of coming to chat with me on Six Elementals. It was such a pleasure. Listen, thank you so much to everyone in the chat. You know, anybody who's going to watch this on the replay, you are what makes this type of content great. Maddie was talking about long form content interviews. Like, that's what we love, man. You know, that's what we love. And, you know, this is what we love, and we love doing it. And yeah, it's just really special to us. So thanks for making my day so special, Maddie, by doing that. Just quickly, as you're ending off, Zach1 says, Matthew, I keep seeing that copy of background bone chips behind you. I keep smiling. Background and bone chips. So, and then Wolfman just said
Blackfire Blade by James Logan will come out at the end of this year. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that, Wolfman too. He's always got your back. He's that kind of guy. He's always got your back, Michael.
And real quick, PL, I'll never ever, with an opportunity to hang out with you, I look up to what you're doing. I'm on the cusp of diving into your work, and just I've heard so many wonderful things. You're a wonderful community guy, and I think you and I have a lot in common as far as why we're here. We have a passion for it, and happy to always hang out with you.
Well, I'm so honored, brother. We'll be hanging out more in the future, I predict. And, you know, again, thank you for all you do for the Booktube community. Thank you for what you do for all of us in the sport. You're awesome. You're definitely a bright light that will continue to shine. So listen, once again, everybody, thank you for coming on Six Elemental Interviews and joining us for this great chat with Matt Sorensen, a.k.a. the Beard of Darkness. And boy, that beard is absolutely epic, and I love it. I love it. So thanks again, everyone, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great night. Take care.